Jonathan Blake here. What happens when one of the loudest voices in American politics throws a direct challenge, expecting a fight, and instead gets a single sentence in return? Not a rant, not a counterattack, just one calm, carefully crafted line that completely changes the conversation. In today's political arena, volume often wins headlines, but sometimes restraint wins the moment. What unfolded between Donald Trump and Barack Obama wasn't just another political clash. It became a masterclass in communication, timing, and the power of composure under pressure. Tonight, we're breaking down what was said, why it landed so hard, and what this moment reveals about two fundamentally different approaches to leadership. If you appreciate sharp political analysis without the noise, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. We break down the moments that shape perception, and perception shapes power. Let's get into it. Donald Trump recently made what many are calling a significant miscalculation. In a moment that quickly became the center of political attention, he delivered his most aggressive criticism, yet directed at Barack Obama. Standing before the press, Trump openly ridiculed Obama's time in office, cast doubt on what he accomplished, and essentially challenged him to fight back. The attack was cutting and clearly strategic in its timing. Trump appeared to anticipate either complete silence or perhaps a weak, defensive reply from his target. Instead, what came back was a single statement so carefully crafted and powerful in its simplicity that it stopped Trump cold and created ripples throughout American media. This wasn't just a response to Trump's aggression. It completely dismantled the attack itself. What unfolded afterward demonstrated something crucial. Not every victory in politics comes from being the loudest voice in the room. Sometimes the most powerful victories come from maintaining composure and control. The attack from Trump arrived unexpectedly. While addressing reporters during a crowded press event, he suddenly pivoted away from discussing policy matters and launched into something deeply personal. He went after Obama directly, using language clearly chosen to get under his skin. Trump characterized Obama's time leading the country as ineffective, described his judgment as weak, and dismissed his accomplishments as overblown. He positioned himself as the necessary course correction after what he framed as 8 years of failed leadership. Everything about his delivery, his sharp tone, his confrontational body language was designed to provoke. His base responded enthusiastically with cheers. This wasn't some offhand comment or casual criticism. It was a calculated, direct challenge designed to capture headlines and push Obama into reacting. Defensively, political observers who watched it happen in real time understood Trump's playbook perfectly. He was baiting Obama, trying to pull him into an emotional response. Trump wanted to see anger, frustration, anything that would give him the confrontational dynamic where he typically excels. The insult was deliberate, and everyone watching wondered whether Obama would take the bait. But Obama didn't immediately say anything. Hours went by without a word. Social media platforms became flooded with speculation and debate. Would he remain silent? Would he issue a formal statement through his team? Would he simply ignore the whole thing? His supporters discussed the best possible strategy, while critics assumed he simply didn't have a strong counterpart. The extended silence made people question whether Trump had finally managed to land an attack that genuinely hurt. Cable news channels filled every available minute with commentary, playing Trump's words repeatedly and analyzing every aspect of what he said. The tension kept building as everyone waited. Then Obama finally made his move. He didn't schedule a television interview or release a statement through a representative. He simply posted something online, a single sentence. There was no introduction, no lengthy explanation, just one meticulously worded statement that immediately changed everything about the conversation. The sentence itself was remarkably straightforward. It didn't return Trump's insults. It didn't launch into a detailed defense of Obama's presidential record. It didn't even directly address the specific accusations Trump had made. Instead, it reframed the entire situation with incredible precision. Obama's message conveyed that real leadership isn't measured by how loud you can be or how sharp your insults are, but rather by the tangible improvements you make in people's lives and the integrity you maintain throughout the process. He never mentioned Trump's name. He didn't have to. The contrast between their approaches became instantly clear and impossible to miss. Trump had just spent considerable time attacking someone. Obama responded with a statement about principles and values. Trump had been demanding everyone's attention. Obama simply commanded their respect. The difference between these two methods couldn't have been more stark. The reaction started flooding in almost immediately. Within just minutes, that single sentence had been shared countless times across platforms. News anchors read it verbatim on air. Political analysts actually stopped mid-analysis to process what had just occurred. Even people who typically supported Trump recognized the strength of this response. It wasn't showy or dramatic, but its impact was undeniable. Obama had taken Trump's aggressive attack and transformed it into something else entirely. A lesson about character and what real leadership looks like. He didn't try to win the insult contest Trump was attempting to create. Instead, he fundamentally changed what the competition was about. By refusing to engage according to Trump's preferred rules, Obama made Trump's words seem diminished, less important, almost juvenile in comparison. The strategy proved brilliant precisely because it caught people off guard. Most politicians in that situation would have responded with matching force and intensity. Obama deliberately chose restraint, and that restraint transformed into his most powerful tool. What made this response work so effectively came down to both timing and tone. Obama waited just long enough for Trump's insult to fully circulate, for people to hear it and develop their own thoughts about it. Then he responded with something that didn't feel reactive or defensive in any way. His sentence felt carefully considered, intentional, and grounded in core values rather than raw emotion. That quality made it feel genuinely presidential. Trump had positioned himself as the aggressor, the commanding presence in this exchange. But Obama's response completely flipped that dynamic. Suddenly, Trump appeared to be someone desperately seeking attention, while Obama came across as calm, self-assured, and operating on a higher level entirely. The balance of power shifted without anyone raising their voice even slightly. Obama's supporters filled social media with admiration. They described the response as masterful, dignified, and perfectly suited to the moment. Even individuals who didn't agree with Obama's political positions acknowledged the sentence's effectiveness. It served as a reminder of why Obama won 2 presidential elections. It demonstrated his remarkable ability to remain composed when under attack and to express sophisticated concepts with remarkable clarity. The response didn't simply defend Obama personally. It reinforced his entire identity as someone who prioritizes substance over showmanship. And that identity placed against Trump's approach became the dominant narrative. Media outlets stopped concentrating on Trump's original attack and shifted their focus entirely to analyzing Obama's response. The story had been completely turned around. People critical of Trump noted how his strategy had become entirely predictable at this point. Attack loudly and aggressively, dominate the news coverage, force opponents into defensive positions where they're constantly reacting. This approach had proven effective against numerous politicians who couldn't figure out how to counter it. But Obama had always functioned differently. He grasped that responding to every single insult actually gives those insults more power and legitimacy. By maintaining his composure and steering the conversation back toward fundamental principles, he denied Trump exactly what he was seeking. Trump flourishes in environments of chaos and constant conflict. Obama provided neither. What he offered instead was a reminder of what leadership actually looks like when it's not being performed purely for cameras and headlines. That reminder connected deeply with millions of people exhausted by non-stop political warfare and manufactured outrage. The moment also revealed something profound about communication in our current media landscape. In an environment constructed around outrage and instantaneous reactions, choosing patience becomes almost radical. Obama's decision to pause, reflect carefully, and respond with clear intention rather than pure emotion stood out precisely because such behavior has become so uncommon. Most public figures experience intense pressure to respond immediately, to match aggression with equal or greater aggression, to demonstrate they won't be intimidated or pushed around. Obama showed that genuine strength can manifest in different ways. It can look like carefully selecting your words. It can look like refusing to be provoked no matter how hard someone tries. It can look like remaining faithful to your fundamental values even when others attempt to pull you away from them. That particular kind of strength doesn't announce itself loudly, but it commands attention regardless. What followed next, political observers even further. Trump, who almost never allows any attack to go unanswered, didn't respond right away. Hours stretched into an entire day. No tweets appeared. No press conference was called. No follow-up insult was delivered. The silence felt unusual and significant. Trump had clearly anticipated a different kind of confrontation. He had expected Obama to engage emotionally, creating the sort of back-and-forth spectacle where Trump typically dominates. Instead, Obama's single sentence effectively closed any doctor to further escalation. It communicated everything necessary and left no vulnerability for Trump to exploit. By the time Trump eventually did comment, that moment had already come and gone. Obama's response had already defined what the exchange meant, and Trump's delayed reaction felt like something tacked on after the fact, lacking real impact. But the genuine influence of Obama's sentence extended far beyond this one political exchange. It evolved into a broader cultural reference point, something people shared in articles discussing effective communication strategies, cited in conversations about demonstrating leadership under intense pressure, and used as a prime example of handling conflict with dignity and grace. Educators shared it with students. Business managers referenced it during professional development. Parents pointed to it when discussing with their children how to handle people who try to provoke or bully them. The sentence transcended its political origins because the fundamental lesson it taught applies universally. When someone deliberately tries to provoke you, you're not obligated to take that bait. You can select an entirely different type of response. You can refuse to participate in their game, and in doing so, you can achieve victory without actually fighting. Obama's approach also served as a reminder that not every attack warrants a response. Some insults exist purely to distract, to move attention away from substantive issues and toward personality-driven conflicts and drama. By recognizing Trump's tactic and choosing not to participate in it, Obama maintained focus where it truly belonged, on values, on character, on what leadership genuinely means in practice. He didn't allow Trump to set the agenda or control how the story was told. He reset the entire conversation on his own terms and according to his own values. That reset is precisely what gave this moment such extraordinary power. It wasn't simply a clever comeback or witty retort. It was a reclamation of dignity and purpose within a political environment that frequently seems to lack both qualities. So, what does this exchange ultimately reveal about our current political landscape and the ongoing battle between these two fundamentally different approaches to leadership and public communication?